Chapter 11. The collapse of memory. The forest had quieted, as if holding its breath. Kael moved deeper into the shattered landscape, his boots crunching through the snow. The once static hum of the ghost frequencies had faded, but the underlying tension was still palpable. Every step he took felt heavier, like gravity itself was no longer playing by the same rules. Diane's voice, though soft, was ever present in his ear. "You've weakened their foundation. But we're far from done." Kael adjusted his dampened signal receiver. The terrain ahead was unfamiliar, fractured, neither natural nor artificial. It was something in between. The remains of a lost civilization. The remnants of their neural tampering. They were close to the nexus, the heart of Project Nemesis. A place where minds were stored, fragmented, and endlessly replayed. Kael had thought this all started with a few isolated experiments, but now he knew the truth. This was a global network. A singularity of minds trapped in a loop, feeding the simulation. "Up ahead, you'll find the central archive," Dan continued. "It's where they stored the keys to the next level. But beware, there's more than just ghosts here. The lost minds can be dangerous." Dangerous? Kael couldn't help but feel a creeping sense of dread. The idea of memories, becoming hostile entities of once living minds now twisted into something dark and resentful, was a far cry from what he had anticipated. But here, amidst the echoes of countless erased personalities, Kael knew he would have to face something worse than simple ghosts. The Central Archive was a crumbling monument to mankind's arrogance. Once a symbol of innovation, it now stood like a blackened obelisk, half submerged in the ice. The door was open, as if welcoming him. Inside, the air tasted stale, thick with the residue of long-forgotten experiments. Kael's eyes adjusted to the dim light. Holographic projections flickered, remnants of faces, voices, and stories long erased. As he walked deeper, a strange sensation settled in his chest. It wasn't just the atmosphere, it was the presence of the lost minds themselves. Each thought, each memory, still rippled through the air, trying to form itself into something recognizable. There, in the center of the archive, was a single terminal, the heart of it all. A repository of knowledge, one that contained the last fragment of their control, the ARG code. "This is it," Kael muttered. "The key to everything." Dan's voice was more urgent now. "It's not just a code, Kael. It's a weapon. It will undo everything, but only if you make the right choice." Kael hesitated, staring at the terminal. The ARG code, if it was what he thought it was, could sever the link between the simulation and reality. But the question lingered: was he ready to risk everything? Was he ready to break the simulation and release the truth to a world that might not be ready for it? The answer was simple. Yes, Kael whispered, more to himself than to Dan. He reached out and pressed the terminal's interface. A sharp pulse of light filled the room, and the walls began to crack. Kael's heartbeat quickened as the code loaded in fragments, flickering like ghosts in the data stream. The ARG code. It was so much more than a sequence of numbers. It was the DNA of the simulation itself. Every frequency, every rule, every pattern that governed the world, and Kael had the chance to rewrite it all. But as he moved to activate it, a deep voice rumbled from behind him. "You should have never come here." Kael spun around, the hairs on the back of his neck standing on end. There, standing in the shadowed corner of the archive, was a figure, a man in a long coat, his face obscured by the low light. Kael knew who he was. Valence. Kael breathed. The name felt like acid on his tongue. The figure stepped forward, his eyes glowing with the same unnatural light that had once filled the minds of the simulation's creators. "You think you can undo everything?" Valence sneered. "This place, this network, it was never meant to be broken. You're not here to end it, you're here to become part of it." Kael's grip tightened on the terminal. "You're wrong." Valence chuckled, a low, echoing sound that filled the empty space. "We were always watching you, Kael. Always guiding you. The simulation doesn't just control reality, it shapes the future, twists perception. It manipulates even your thoughts. You were never free. You're just another version of us." A sickening realization settled over Kael. Everything he had done, every move he'd made, it had all been anticipated. The trap had been set long before he even understood the game. "Then it's time to end it," Kael said, his voice steady. Without another word, he slammed his hand onto the terminal. The final piece of the ARG code unlocked. There was no explosion, no flash of light, just the gradual decay of the walls around him, the whine of failing systems, and the unsettling sound of reality unweaving. Kael turned to face Valence one last time, but the man was already gone. And with his departure, the simulation began to collapse.